All right, so it's 8 o'clock. We're going to get going. I'm sure there's going to be a few more people joining as we go along. But yes, welcome everyone to tonight's call. Thank you so much for joining. It's absolutely amazing that we've already got over 250 people on the call tonight. That's really, really exciting. I'm sure some people are going to join as we go along. But yeah, it should be relatively easy to just, find out what's going on. You shouldn't miss out on too much. Just to say again, if you have any questions throughout the call, then please go to peoplesmomentum.com, click the small icon with a little speech bubble on it, ask your question, and a volunteer from our amazing support team will be able to get back to you soon. So yeah, I'm going to kick things off. So welcome again everyone to tonight's first organising call for the upcoming leadership election. I'm Claire and I work at Momentum, and I'm going to be moderating the call this evening. And this is the wonderful Rosie, who also works at Momentum and is on our brilliant campaigns team. So welcome again to you all. Thanks so much for being here. Especially, so many of you worked so hard during the general election, and I'm sure you're still recovering. So, well done for getting on the call. I know that I'm still recovering. I think we all are in the office. So yeah, it's really great that you can be here. And I just want to start by saying thank you so much for everything that every one of you on this call poured into the general election. That exit poll was really horrible to watch, especially after all the work that we put in. And having a Boris Johnson majority for the foreseeable future doesn't bear thinking about. And it often feels like a really bleak time at the moment, but that's why the fight back starts right now. So the next general election is going to come around a lot sooner than you think, and in the meantime our movement will need to be fighting the Tories every step of the way when they come for our jobs, our rights, our public services. So we have really, really important work to do, and this is why the upcoming Labour leadership election is so important. It's going to decide the future of our party, and it's the first step on our path to power, and we really need to start organising now. So during the general election campaign, our movement ran the biggest people-powered political campaign that this country has ever seen, knocking on millions of doors and making hundreds of thousands of phone calls. And now we really owe it to ourselves to make our voices heard at this really crucial moment for the Labour Party. So before we get started, I just want to give a really quick overview of what we're going to be talking about tonight and the fantastic guests that we've got joining us on the call. So first up, we're going to be hearing from Rosie, who's going to walk us through the different stages of the leadership campaign and what's going to happen when. Then we're going to be hearing from the wonderful Rebecca herself, who's going to be telling us all about why she's running to be the next leader of the Labour Party and setting out her vision for the party and for the country. Then we're going to be explaining our plan to win by reaching hundreds of thousands of Labour Party members. This part is key because it's only by all of us stepping up and getting involved in Rebecca's campaign that she's going to win. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Overall, this call should last no longer than about 30 minutes. But before we get started, there's two things that we really, really need you to do right now. So firstly, if you're not already on Momentum's list, that's if you don't already receive emails from Momentum, then we need you to sign up so that we can get in contact with you to tell you about campaigning opportunities and help you make the biggest impact possible as part of this campaign. So to do that, just head to join.peoplesmomentum.com and fill in your name and details. If you already receive our emails, that's fantastic, you're good to go. But yeah, Rosie, you just want to say a bit about why that's important?
Yeah, so as well as putting in your emails, you can also put in your phone number and postcode. And the reason why we ask this is so that our wonderful volunteers, which might be you, are able to find out about local campaigns that are happening near you. So you'll be able to be called, you'll be able to be texted, you can even call and text yourself. So please do put a phone number so we can do that, and put your postcode so that we can make sure you find out about what's happening near you.
Great. So secondly, in order to make our plan to win a reality, we need money to put a team together. So we're trying to raise £50,000 by Wednesday evening in order to build the team that we're going to need for Rebecca to win. So please, if you're able to chip in, head to bit.ly/Rebecca donate. We're going to post that link in the chat box just now. And if you're able to, please go to that and donate there. Anything you can spare really does make a huge difference, and thank you in advance for donating. So just to say again that if you have any questions during the call, then head to peoplesmomentum.com, click the small icon in the corner of the speech bubble, and you can ask a question, and our volunteer support team will be able to get back to you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Rosie.
Thanks, Claire. So it's really, really great to be here with so many of you on this call tonight. As Claire said, I'm Rosie and I work on the Momentum campaigns team. Before we get into the detail of our plan to win this leadership election, I'm going to explain the whole process as carefully and hopefully as simply as possible. So there are several stages to the Labour leadership election. Stage 1. First stage, when candidates standing to be leader receive nominations from members of the Parliamentary Labour Party. So that's MPs and MEPs. The stage has now passed, with Rebecca exceeding the threshold needed to be on the ballot, and the deadline has also now passed for new members to join the Labour Party and be eligible to vote. So now we're in the second stage of the leadership election, when the candidates are seeking nominations from local constituency Labour parties, or CLPs, as well as trade unions and socialist societies affiliated to the Labour Party. As well as showing that Rebecca has support across our movement and across the country, nomination meetings are a good place for local supporters to meet each other, get to know one another, and to organise locally to get Rebecca elected. This stage closes on Friday, the 14th of February, so it's quite soon, which brings us to the first thing that we're going to ask you to do on the call tonight. And that is find out when your CLP nomination meeting is and let us know. If you already know, then please do send us the information. You can do that by filling in the form that I'm just about to post. Now, there we go. So we need to know so we can help you organise for your meeting and make sure that Rebecca gets the nomination from your CLP. Once you find out when your CLP meeting is, which you can do by contacting your CLP secretary, or if you don't know how to do that, filling in the form and we can help you. Let us know by filling in that short form that I just posted in the chat box. For those of you who can't see the chat box, if you're on the phone, that form can be found at bit.ly/CLP noms. So that's bit.ly/CLP noms. So some of you had already had meetings, as I said, still fill out the form, let us know so we can get that national picture and find out how well Rebecca's doing. So ballots will begin to arrive in our inboxes on Friday, the 21st of February. This is the final stage of the campaign. We will be mobilising to make sure Labour members are voting for Rebecca every day from then until ballots close on Thursday, the 2nd of April. The results will be then announced on Saturday, the 4th of April. So that's the timeline for now and how Rebecca could win.
Great, thank you, Rosie. So now's the part that we've all been waiting for. We're going to hear from Rebecca herself. So Rebecca is one of the people who's been writing some of Labour's most exciting policies over the last few years, including Labour's Green New Deal, which I personally am a big fan of. And she's going to be laying out her vision for leadership. So Rebecca, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hiya. We can hear you loud and clear.
Zoom in. Zoom call. First of all, I just wanted to say a massive thanks to all of you on the call for everything that you did in the election campaign. Momentum, I remember Momentum when it was a little baby after Jeremy's leadership campaign, and we saw the excitement that was created and the need for a movement, and we wanted to make sure that all of that excitement and energy was harnessed into a true revolutionary campaigning force. And that's what Momentum has become. You've revolutionised how we campaign. And I know that you all made the difference in a lot of seats that we came close to winning this time round. And I also want to say a big shout out to those on the calls who were Labour legends. Woo! Volunteer Slack, who took time off work and organised volunteers in key seats and fought for every vote. So many of you became really experienced campaigners during the election. We're really going to need that experience again in the future if we're going to take back the seats that we've lost and win the ones that we need to win to form a government in the future. Now, I know that you all gave this election every ounce of your being, and that's why this result hurt us so much. I was absolutely crushed, and I'm sure you were all crushed by it as well. We couldn't have done any more. And we've got to look at why we lost, and we've got to have those conversations, everything from Brexit through to messaging, through to making sure that our campaigning resources were used as wisely as they should have been. But I think now we've reached the point where we've got to fight back, and we've got to set out what our vision of the future is going to be. Because we're in a frightening time. We've got Boris Johnson as our Prime Minister, for God's sake. Our public services are starved of funding and are being privatised before our very eyes. We've got millions of children living in poverty in one of the richest economies in the world. And there are huge challenges facing us that it was important to win this election for: the rise of the far right and, of course, climate change. Because we are running out of time. there is still time, as David Attenborough has said, but we're running out of time. And we know that we've got a government in power that won't take the action necessary. And it means that the action that we're going to have to take as a Labour government is going to have to be more radical and more transformative. Now, this leadership election matters. It doesn't just matter because of all these things, but it matters because we know that tinkering around the edges and going back to business as usual will not sort out the fundamental structural flaws that we see in our communities and within our economy. We need to see a transformation. We need to see an agenda for national renewal. There was a really good piece in the New Economics Foundation magazine, which if you're bored tonight, by the way, after this call, go and have a read of the magazine. And I might be odd getting really excited about the magazine, but it was really, really exciting. And it set out many of the things that I agree with. And it'll be interesting to see how all the candidates pitch their leadership campaigns in terms of the policies they're going to take forward. But you pretty much know where I'm coming from, and you know the economic policies that I've been working on over the last 4 years in this very room. By the way, I was locked in this room for 4 solid years, typing away and developing the policies that I knew could transform our economy and to tackle climate change. And that's why the result was so devastating for me, because I knew how powerful they were going to be. And we knew as well that when we polled on these policies, they were largely popular. And it's interesting to see sometimes when you look at the polls, we did a bit of polling where we had the policies like energy brought into public ownership, green industrial revolution, and we scored very, very highly in these polls. And then when you put in front of them, the Labour Party is going to do this, then the results showed very different results. So it shows that we really do have a fight on our hands, and we've got to get the messaging spot on. But to roll back on where we've come from over the last 4 years, I think would be a huge mistake, and I think we need to go further. So it's not the time to be timid. I think you're getting the impression from me that that is certainly the case. And we need to make sure that we're developing a plan that really shows that we're going to transform our economy and our communities. And we've also got to make sure that that plan celebrates our communities in all of their diversity and brings them together in solidarity and pride around where they live and the industries and the communities that they live in. But to do this, we've got to recognise that that work doesn't start when we have a general election campaign. It has to start now. It has to start with the Labour Party and our activists being embedded in our communities and making sure that they're the voice for their communities, whether it's campaigning for a new electric battery factory in the Midlands, all the way through to campaigning against plastic bags being used in supermarkets in Dundee. We need to be leading the charge on these campaigns. And that starts with the leadership campaign, but it carries on way beyond there. And in terms of what I believe in, I mean, we've already talked in the campaign about a democratic revolution, and that's within our party, but also in politics and our economy. We've got to make sure that our membership truly feels that they have a voice at the table, that when you're going to constituency meetings, you really feel part of that policy making process, that it's not all done at conference in compositing meetings, that you're there every step of the way being listened to. And that's what I tried to do in our Green Industrial Revolution when we travel around the country, and we tried to build those policies from the grassroots up, and we had an amazing package to show for it at the end of it. And I think we can do that again. And we've also got to look at other ways that we can democratise our structures in the party so that they really do represent our members, and that our members are sitting at the table with a really powerful voice. But we've also got to recognise that democracy has to happen within our communities as well. And we've started the campaign talking about sweeping away the House of Lords and replacing it with an elected Senate, which will be based outside of London. And that will be elected, and we'll look at proportional voting systems to make sure that we really do represent the wide breadth and diversity of our communities. But we're going to go further than that, and we're really going to see a shift in economic and political power to our regions and nations so that they can take the decisions that their communities need. We also need to see an economic reset, and that comes all the way through from the Green Industrial Revolution, which is a huge economic lever. It was not just about tackling the climate crisis, it's about investing in communities that have been deindustrialised and not invested in for decades, as well as ushering in what I've called previously a new era of public luxury in our homes. Because ultimately, my leadership will be about a new constitution. It will be saying to the country, our communities and everyone in them, that the role of government is the betterment of its people, and every decision that we make will be predicated on that, all the way through from how well off we are, how happy we are, to whether our policies tackle the climate crisis and deliver the environmental outcomes that we need to see. And that's what government should do. It's what they should have been about. But unfortunately, we don't have a government that represents our real needs, desires and aspirations. But we can make sure that in the next general election that the message goes out there that the Labour Party is the party that does that. Now, what I need you to do, guys, if you're up for this, is to get out there as part of a people-powered grassroots campaign. I need you to be out in your constituency parties, and Claire will speak about this shortly. And I need you to be speaking to the Labour members that you know right across the country and tell them about our plan at your constituency parties, within your trade unions, and also over the phone at phone banks. And that means doing two things right now. Number one, you've got to head to volunteer.peoplesmomentum.com and sign up to a phone bank for the campaign. And number two, as was said at the beginning of the call, in order to make our plan to win this leadership campaign a reality, we need money to put a team together. We need to raise 50 grand by Wednesday evening in order to build the team we need. So please, if you're able to chip in, head to bit.ly/Rebecca donate if you can. I won't try and do the words of Bob Geldof from the live video, but if you're able to donate, donate. And it's not me that's going to win this leadership election. You all know that. When we all win, we win together, and our communities win together. And the point of a Labour government is about aspiration, and it's about our communities rising up together so that our children and our grandchildren will always have a better quality of life. That's what we believe in. With every passing generation, life will be better for those that come after us, and we will build that future. And never let anybody tell you that what you believe in isn't possible, because it is. And I know that there are hundreds of people on this call willing to fight for that. I'm willing to fight for that. And together we'll win this leadership election, we'll win the general election, and we'll transform our economy for the better. Thank you.
Let's have a round of applause for that. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was great. And, just to say, I've been to some of the Green Industrial Revolution events that, you've been doing, and, I've been so impressed, and I really would kind of urge everyone on this call to take a look at the kind of stuff that Rebecca's been doing over the past few years, because it's absolutely fantastic. And, I couldn't be more impressed. So yeah, thanks so much for joining the call. It's really, really great to get you on. So everyone, now this is the part of the call where we're going to be explaining exactly what we need you to do. So our plan to win is very, very simple. So there are over 500,000 members of the Labour Party and more affiliates and supporters, and we need our campaign to reach every single one in order to win. So I know we've just been through an exhausting winter election, and many members are going to be taking a break or not following politics so closely, and that's why it's only by talking to members directly that we can ensure that they know that Rebecca is the candidate who can win the next general election on a socialist platform. So now Rosie's going to explain exactly how we're going to do it.
Thanks, Claire. So first and foremost, we need you to phone bank. That is how we talk to Labour's members directly. If you're not going to your CLP meetings and trade unions, just as you should, as Rebecca said, it's also to talk to them on the phone. So we're going to be doing this in 3 different ways. The first one is we've got our online calling system going again, so you can phone bank for free from the comfort of your own home. And for those who joined us to do that in the general election, we made thousands of calls, had amazing conversations. I really recommend it. It was a wonderful experience. The second one is organising big phone banks in towns and cities across the country, so look out for them. And the third one is if you're in a local Momentum group, or you have friends who want to call for Rebecca in your area, we're going to be supporting you to organise your own phone banks locally. And we need to get going right away. So what I want every single one of you to do is listen to what Rebecca already said and head to volunteer.peoplesmomentum.com. And I'm going to post that in the chat box right now. When you do, you can sign up and you'll receive an email invitation to the Momentum Volunteer Slack. So what Rebecca already mentioned, we had it set up back for the general election and it's still going. It's a thriving community and people will be on hand to explain what you need to get going next and your first steps to get calling from tomorrow. You'll have access to guides and training videos as well as wonderful volunteers and staff members all in the Slack. The second thing we need you to do tonight is join our WhatsApp broadcast list. So this is a list so we can contact you to make sure you're the first to know about what's going on in the campaign, where Rebecca will be, and what you can do to get involved. So you can join that list either by messaging this number that I'm posting in the chat right now. And for those who can't see, it's 07494 156 562, or a little bit easier to remember, it's bit.ly/RLB2020. So that's bit.ly/RLB2020. And as I just said, volunteers are going to be calling Labour members to make sure they're voting for Rebecca. So the third thing we need you to do tonight is let us know if you're already backing Becky. So we don't have to call you and volunteers can really focus on all of those people who haven't heard from us or ourselves, everyone who we can't reach. So you can do that by heading to www.rebeccaforleader.org. I'm going to post that in the chat as well. Let us know, pass it around, get your friends to let us know, and we can run the most effective campaign possible.
Great, thank you so much, Rosie. So it's really important to emphasise that loads of members don't know the candidate standing for Labour leader well, and even more have yet to make up their minds who they're going to vote for. So we have just over 2 months, and in that time we've got hundreds of thousands of people to reach. So this is a big job, but we've done it before, and together we can do it again. So please, please, please do get involved. If we're going to kick Boris Johnson and his old boys club out and replace him with Rebecca, it really is going to take all of us. So yeah, please do get involved if you can. So let's just run through those things again that we need you all to do really quickly. So we need you to sign up to Phone Bank for Rebecca at volunteer.peoplesmomentum.com. We're going to post all these links in the chat box again now. Then we need you to join our WhatsApp broadcast list. You can either do that by messaging 07494 156 562, or a little bit easier, go to the link bit.ly/RLB2020. And finally, we need you to let us know if you're going to be backing Rebecca at rebeccaforleader.org. And that way we know that we don't have to phone bank you, and it makes the whole job a lot easier. And that's a wrap for tonight. So a big thank you to Rebecca and to Rosie for joining us on the call. It's really, really great to hear from both of you. Again, if you have any questions after the call or anything that you think that we might be able to help with, then go to our website and send us a message on our live chat feature, and a volunteer from our amazing support team should be able to get back shortly to help you. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. We're really, really excited about this leadership election. Together we can win it. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.